My boyfriend of 3 years just revealed that he is a furry, so we went to a furry event together. Everyone smelled gross and I got the ick. I didn't even know what a furry exactly was before I met him. We were together for literally 3 whole years until we moved in together. I found one of his furry outfits while I was helping him move his clothes into our apartment. At first I thought that maybe at some point he had worked in children's shows or selling things in the subway. In my country it is normal to see people in costumes selling things. Then I also found a common foxtail and thought it was something kinky, but it's not. He got nervous and confessed to me that he is a furry. I looked at him like WTF is a furry. Anyway, he explained to me that years ago he created his fursona and it is a hobby that makes him feel at ease and happy. He said that he hid it from me because he was embarrassed and scared that I might leave him or laugh at him. He's a serious and professional man, not the kind of person who would dress like that. I assured him that I wasn't going to leave him and that I love him. That knowing my boyfriend uses a fox suit was the least attractive thing in the world, but I support his hobby. I didn't really think much about it. Did it seem weird to me? Yes, but at the time I thought I loved him so much that I was going to support him. It's just a hobby he does rarely, so it's not like he talks about that in our day by day. Either is his way of being himself. He said he just likes to do the character, and it's not something with a deep meaning. It's been a year since that, and he's invited me to a furry event for the first time. I've never gotten into furry events. I hadn't seen him wearing his suit either. He wears it very rarely. Because it's not my thing at all, but he invited me really excited and shy. I couldn't refuse to go with him because I also wanted to go and see what it's like and know that world. But when we got there it was like, oh, this is getting real. When I saw him park the car and put on his suit, I didn't have a suit, so my face was totally visible when we got out of the car a few streets back and had to walk through the city center like that. I felt embarrassed, even if it's awful to say that. First we met his furry friends who were waiting in a park for him, and I found out that my boyfriend has a name that he uses when he's in character. They were nice, but no, it's not an everyday thing to see your boyfriend using a pet name, dressed as a fox and talking to other people who are also like that, although some didn't have a suit, just a tail or nothing. I felt embarrassed because people around obviously walked by and laughed or looked curiously. A few minutes later we finally went to the place of the event, and it wasn't that many people but a large group, most of them without a suit and just wearing tails or just a mask. I know it's wrong to say it, but a lot of those people smelled musty, long hair so greasy you could fry an egg on it, just weird people. Years ago I accompanied my sister to an otaku event, and it was 95% the same kind of people, like weird in the wrong way. I've never been in that kind of environment. My boyfriend isn't like that at all. He's attractive, smells good, has a normal life and work, and I don't think anyone would expect him to be a furry, so it was my first time seeing other furries in person beside him. At one point some of them started playing at removing each other's tails, some were doing choreographies and TikToks, some of them liked to do high jumps in 4, not my BF, he was just walking around with me and just letting some people take pictures with him and then did a TikTok with another person. You know what it's like to see your boyfriend do a choreo dressed as a blue fox while asking you to call him by his furry name and pet his head? I do know it, and it was impossible for me not to change the way I see him. I didn't feel comfortable in the place. It bothered me a lot since there were some using harnesses in their suits. What is sexy about an animal? Some artist stands had furry art which was pretty explicit. My boyfriend dislikes that kind of art. For him his fursona is a performance. So I just felt even more weird because they're animals, even if they call that a fursona. I felt weird, and since yesterday every time I see my boyfriend I can't help but think of him being part of those people and him dressed like that. I really love him, but I just feel like I got the ick, and I hate that because I always wanted to be the supportive girlfriend, but this is just too much. I don't want to talk about this with my boyfriend and make him feel ashamed of who he is and likes. I don't want to make him feel bad about my feelings. He's a great man. Really, the only time I felt tenderness yesterday was when he hugged me, thanking me for support him in this. I just feel like the worst person in the world, and the last thing I want is hurt his heart, even if his friends are too weird for me. I just hope I can get over this icky feeling fast, but he's really happy and shows me pictures of the event telling me that we should go to another event together, and I just can't tell him that the last thing I want to do is go to one of those events again. I always supported him. I don't feel manipulated like some people says in the comments. I did wanted to go with him because I thought that maybe it was going to be fun. It wasn't. Edit. He's not into anything sexual. He told me that his character is a performative thing that he enjoys doing from time to time but doesn't find it exciting or comfortable fetishizing a fursona because at the end of the day he's just making a character. Then he told me that for him it's like a person getting aroused by being dressed as Mickey for a play. He can't feel like that and finds it weird. We literally live together and share the PC. If he had strange movements I would notice them. He goes to those events very occasionally because he doesn't like the more weird side of furry. I know he's not a pervert, and no, my intuition doesn't tell me that he is that. My intuition just tells me that the people at that event smelled funny and that I don't want to set foot in that place again. Relevant comments. Commenter. I'm sorry this is happening to you. But I think you know that he belongs with his own kind. It's time to set that fox free back into the wild where he belongs. You can't domesticate a lot of them, unfortunately, no matter how hard you try. Original poster. My fox is in captivity for now. Commenter. Sorry, but I can't stop laughing, lol. Maybe one day you will laugh too. For God's sake, that's so funny. Original poster. At times, everything that happened around me was bizarre and funny. But I couldn't laugh because they all take their characters really seriously, and I didn't want it to be disrespectful. Commenter. Girly, I think it's time for a sit-down conversation. Tell him that you support his hobby but you're not interested in taking part because it makes you personally uncomfortable. Not him, but the other people and the vibe. Hopefully, he understands and you'll get over the weird memory. If the ick sticks though, unfortunately it is what it is and you're not compatible. But if he's as good as you say he is, I think you can probably get past this as long as you're not involved. Original poster. Yes, I think what stops me from doing it is that he told me that his previous girlfriends laughed at his hobby or criticized him because he doesn't look like the kind of person who's into that. It was very difficult for him to show himself that way with me, uneasy face. I never really expected to be in this situation, and I don't know how to broach the subject without making him feel bad because he just wants my support. Commenter. Doesn't most furry stuff involve sex between them? Isn't most of the sexual interaction between males? Is he bi? If he failed to disclose his K&K to you initially and hid it for 3 years, I think it's safe to assume there's more he may be withholding from you. You may be his link to normal? To me, it's like someone not disclosing they have a drug or alcohol habit and hiding it for as long as they can. The chances of a relationship surviving long-term when one is an addict and the other isn't are very slim. Unfortunately, there are so many red flags related to your discovery of his suit that I'd probably suggest you reconsider continuing the relationship. He's not going to suddenly stop fantasizing about being a furry, is he? He also has been lying to you for 3 years and is manipulating you while trying to convince you he's worth your time and distract you from some serious underlying issues he has despite deceiving you for so long. You're young, naive, and sound like a nice person who is honest. You deserve the same IMO. Either that or buy a suit and join in the furry fun, man shrugging. Original poster. I don't know about that. As far as I know, my boyfriend doesn't have a fetish with his suit and doesn't like it that kind of things. He's straight, and if he were to sleep with other people behind my back I'd know because it's hard to ignore the fox suit in the closet. He's just got his character, as weird as it may seem to me, and just goes to these events once a year. Update 1. First of all, I never had any problem with him telling me after 3 years about this, and I said that in the first post. I always understood how afraid someone can feel to say who he is. Everyone has their secrets, and there's nothing wrong if you're not harming anyone with them, and after reading the comments people left on the post I understand the fear that my boyfriend had. Some people even told me that he was grooming me. It's just disgusting, like if I couldn't defend myself. I didn't need to talk to my boyfriend because during the night he sat down to talk to me and apologized. He showed me that one of his friends told him that the organizers of the event changed, and that's why there were people with NSFW stuff. My boyfriend was also uncomfortable with that since the last time he went to that event those types of outfits were forbidden. He showed me pictures and yes, the atmosphere and people looked different. They found out too about it because some people started to complain about that in the IG of the event. It seems that there's public-friendly events and others that aren't like that, but the new people in charge of the event just changed a lot of things. I confessed to him that I didn't feel comfortable either, and he was surprised because after all I was smiling all the time and pretending that everything was fine, which is true. We talked a lot and he was very apologetic for how he behaved, said he should have gone without the suit and should have shown me pictures of the place before we went. Honestly, I never showed him discomfort, and I was always with a fake smile, so I understand that he thought I was having a good time. My boyfriend just kept apologizing deeply. He said he didn't really knew how to react since it was the first time he had taken someone so important to an event, so he behaved that way. He apologized for not thinking about how I might have felt, and I apologized for not communicating my feelings too. I received literally more than 100 messages and comments telling me that my boyfriend is a pervert. I don't know much about the furry world, so I was disturbed when some people started to leave comments talking about things I didn't know about them. I had never distrusted him before. We share PC and I can use his cell phone whenever I want, but I am so stupid that it was difficult for me not to get carried away by more than 100 people telling me that I am dating a degenerate. I asked him if he doesn't really feel anything sexual by doing that. He never showed that, and from day one he made it clear to me that for him it's just a character. He doesn't even behave like an animal when he's in character. he wanted me to pat his head as a cute gesture. He was clearly upset that I didn't trust him, but he ended up giving me his cell phone so I could check whatever I wanted. It made me feel worse to see that his chat with his furry friends wasn't even too active since they all have busy lives, but they said that I'm really cool and they liked me. The rest of his stuff was just about his work and me. I feel really stupid for letting my head be filled with comments from sad strangers. But my boyfriend told me that he actually understands why I feel that way. It happened to him too. In the past he had a furry girlfriend, but she did have a fetish with that, and that made him uncomfortable, so he ended the relationship. That's why my boyfriend doesn't date furry women. He says that the vast majority are weird people who ruin the community. He doesn't see his character as his true self, and he doesn't identify with those who do. For him it's quite a character. Like cosplaying, although he doesn't like anime or anything like that, so he prefers furry because he can do an original character. I said I was really sorry for thinking like that about him, and told him about the post. He doesn't speak English, so I translated him some things except the people who left weird comments. I promised him to have better communication with him about everything. I never felt manipulated. He never pressured me to do anything. I wanted to try to be part of his world. And no, I'm not a poor victim who fell into the clutches of a beast. Some people is really weird trying to look for a villain in every post. Someone even said that my boyfriend was love bombing me with pictures of the event to manipulate me. For God's sake, stop making up new terms and touch some grass. I just said that my boyfriend showed me pictures of the event because he was happy that I went with him, and all of a sudden he's Charles Manson. Do these people have loved ones? It's too weird. I'd rather embrace that eccentric side of him than ruin a cute relationship just because I don't share his hobby. I really like going to raves and he doesn't, but there's nothing wrong with that. We will have separated hobbies. I want to make a good live with him, far away from the furries with harnesses and the NSFW art. And I learned my lesson of never posting again in this kind of places. The last time I checked the post, one person got downvoted just because they said that we sound adorable. I guess that's the vibe in this app, haha. Thanks to the people who gave me good advices and was kind. Honestly, I stopped reading the post after a few comments. P.S. I guess the ick was just the shock I had because we had segs as usual. Why would I leave a hardworking, kind man who loves me devotedly just because he has a hobby that I can't relate to? The blue fox is still mine, and I love him even more.